What's up, everybody? Good to see you and welcome back to the Potato Boat YouTube channel. And today we are going to be covering one of the coolest new survival games out there, and that is V Rising. Now, if you have not checked this game out, I absolutely recommend you go and give it a look. It is one of the most fun survival games that I've picked up in a while, but I do want to also help you along in that journey. So today we have 20 tips for beginners that we are going to be covering for V Rising. So pick up the game, download it, get this video ready, and let's get into it. As always, before we get started, please consider going down and clicking the subscribe button. It warms my cold dead heart and I appreciate it. Also, leave a thumbs up, YouTube likes that part, and drop a comment down below if you have any other tips that you would like to share with beginners or things that were helpful to you or whatever. It's the YouTube comment section. So without further ado, 20 solid tips to getting started in V Rising. So my first and biggest tip for this game would be to follow the quests that are up in the top left corner of your game. These quests are going to unlock tons of recipes, all the progression tools, all the building tools that you need to succeed in this game. So power through those, continue to do them as you can, and make them a priority because they will set you up for success as you go. Tip number 2 is try to collect all the rats in the tutorial zone. There are 10 to 12 rats in the tutorial zone, and why that is important is because they are a key ingredient in making the health potions in this game, which are called rat salves, and they are super useful early game when you're just getting started and you need healing. So make sure you grab all the rats in the graveyard. Tip number 3 is to hover over enemies to see everything you need to know about them, their level, their health, their blood type, and blood quality, which are all going to be important things that you need to consider before going into combat. Now, for tip number 4, let's cover the basics of blood. I'm not going to get super in depth here. We actually have a video coming later on it, but blood and blood type are super important in this game. In the bottom center of your screen, you will have what's called a blood pool. You need to continually feed on things to keep this pool from going empty, because if it goes empty, it will lead to death. So make sure, tip number 4 is to keep your eyes on your blood pool. Now, tip number 5 is that your blood quality matters. As you feast on things in the game, you will not only refill this blood pool, but you will gain attributes based on what type of enemy you feast on. In this game currently, there are 6 total enemy types that you can feast on, and these are creature, brute, rogue, warrior, scholar, and worker. And each different class provides different bonuses depending on the blood quality that you feast on. Now, again, I'm going to go more in depth about all this in another video, so be looking for that coming very soon. Now, tip number 6 is to get your reinforced tools and weapons as quickly as possible. Not the bone ones you start off with, but the higher up, next up version. This will not only give you more damage, which is always awesome, but it will also allow you to farm more efficiently and farm new materials that are super useful and necessary going forward, such as copper. Tip number 7 is to go fishing. As early as you can, defeat Rufus the Foreman to unlock the fishing rod at your workbench. You can find Rufus by using your blood altar. Once you've unlocked and built the fishing rod, you want to go fishing as often as you can, because not only will you catch food, but you'll also be able to catch gear and recipes. Tip number 8 is really simple. If you want to go fast, make sure you acquire the wolf form by defeating the alpha wolf in your blood altar. This will allow you to travel 45% faster across the map. Now, I do need to warn you though that you cannot engage in combat in this form. So if you attack, you will flip out of this form, or if you take damage, then will also knock you out of the form. Tip number 9 is get copper axes as quickly as you can. I found this one extremely useful because once you reach this level of equipment, you will unlock your Q ability for each type of weapon. And for the axes, you will be able to use the Q ability to do damage to trees, and then your next 3 auto attacks are also at increased speed. It helps you farm trees and lumber so much quicker, so make sure you get to your copper axes as quickly as you can. Tip number 10 is to hunt bosses regularly. You can find all the bosses you are able to hunt in your blood altar, and you want to do this as often as you can when you're not building. Each boss gives you different spells that you can unlock and different items that you can unlock as well that will help you progress your journey. But with this, it will also let you kind of customize your playstyle and begin to build a build. Tip number 11 is be careful where and when you feed. You are still vulnerable to attacks and damage while feeding, which could get you killed, which makes it not worth going for that feed. If you do manage to accidentally go in for a feed when you didn't mean to, you can left click while doing that to not only cancel the feed, but execute the enemy. And you can kind of cheese this as a super secret bonus tip. You can kind of cheese this for free, like redirection and replacement. It's a very neat tool if you get it down right. Now, tip number 12 is for the V-Blood enemies, your bosses. They are the exception to the previous rule in that they make you invulnerable while you're feeding on them. And as an added bonus, after completing the feed, they explode and destroy the resource nodes around you, making farming much easier. So, you know, if you want to kind of capitalize on that boss kill, make sure you kill them near some resource nodes. Tip number 13 is do not leave FARBANE Woods, which is the beginning area after the tutorial area, until around level 30. Make sure to progress your quests and make sure to get your equipment before heading out, because just to be frank, you will get railed. Tip number 14 is chests have a great sort option. Your storage chest, when you interact with them, you can actually click to sort a chest to group like items, or you can click compulsively count, which will move items in your inventory into the chest if you already have that item in the chest. So nice little quick transfer tip for you. Now, tip number 15 is be very choosy about your castle location. Make sure that when you put down that castle heart, that you have plenty of room to expand around. You have access to a lot of good neighboring areas, and maybe even make sure that you're kind of up on a hill with those like drop offs that you have to hit shift to get down, because stuff can't come up though. So you're already naturally protected on those sides. Make sure you follow the rules of real estate here. Location, location, location. You can only build a limited amount of castle hearts most of the time, so choose wisely. Tip number 16 is build mist braziers or braziers or whatever, however you say it. These will allow you to continue to work when the sun's out, because they create a mist that treats the area like darkness, so you can continue to do stuff when the sun's out. Just make sure you stock up on bones, as that's what these run on. Tip number 17 is utilize the blood moons. These completely random events are amazing. Every once in a while when it hits nighttime, you will be hit with a blood moon. It'll give you a nice big red effect, and during this time it boosts the effects of your current blood type by 20%. And I know we didn't go through all the blood types in this video and what the effects are, but trust me, no matter what, it's all buffs. It also increases your movement speed by 10%, which does stack with the wolf form that we mentioned earlier. And also it gives you a 20% boost to damage. Honestly, if you get a blood moon, I highly recommend you go boss hunting immediately. If you've been having trouble with something, or you want to try to get a piece of gear, or it doesn't even matter, just take down a boss during this time, because you are hyper equipped to do so. Tip number 18 is you can build multiple of the same kinds of crafting stations to cut down on crafting time. So if you want to create a bunch of bulk or something, I recommend making 2 or more of that station. Tip number 19 is keep your castle heart fed with blood essence. If this decays, all of your workstations will stop working and your castle durability will begin to decay, leaving you open to attacks, which is especially dangerous if you're playing PvP. And finally, tip number 20, make a blood press and hoard them hearts. Sometimes when you kill enemies, they will drop different kinds of hearts that you can use to mush into a bloody mush and make blood essence. but there's a very particular heart called the unsullied heart, which is incredibly important. It creates what's called a greater blood essence when you process it, which does massively important things to you, especially in the early game, which allows you to upgrade your castle hearts, create servant coffins, make a castle throne, and bunches of other important things. So if you see a heart laying on the ground, pick it up, put it in your pocket, go back home and mash that sucker and enjoy all of your upgrades. Now, this is by no means an extensive list. There's still so many mechanics and so many things and so many tips that aren't beginners, but this is just the first of much V Rising content to come. So if you enjoyed the video today, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let us know that you loved it by coming and joining the channel. Also leave a thumbs up. That's a great way to tell us as well, or just verbally tell us down in the comments below, and also let us know if you would like some more V Rising tip videos that are a little bit more past the beginner stage. But thank you all so much for taking your time out of your day to watch the video, and I hope you have a wonderful day no matter what you have going on, and we will see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you want some more content that we have made, make sure to check out any of the videos you see here on screen, or stop by the Potato Boat YouTube channel and check out all the cool stuff that we've made. But until then, we'll see you in the next video.